What's up, guys, and welcome to the Pay Yourself First Project. My name is TJ LaFavor, and this is, the whole purpose of this channel, and me doing this is because, I'm personally on a journey to become the best version of myself, physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, and I've got a lot to learn, and, I think that life is the best teacher to us, especially when we're aware of it. But the cool thing about social media is when we can do things like this, we can learn through these processes together. So that's the whole purpose of this channel, is to bring like-minded individuals who just want more out of their life, want to improve in their lives, and just kind of create some shared experiences and to build some relationships and learn along the way, And as you can see, if you look at my page at all, it's been a long time since I've recorded a video. And to be completely honest with you, I've been battling a little bit of imposter syndrome, to be completely honest, lately. I know I started this whole thing to, admittedly not knowing, claiming, hey, I don't know all the answers, but I want to share what I'm learning along the way. And I failed on that. And, it's one of those things that I've had a couple close friends call me out on it, and say, hey, if you're trying to be perfect or trying to share a perfect message, that's why you're struggling, is because that's not the purpose of what you're doing. And so I just want to say thank you for those of you that are here. Those are for the first time or returning, and especially to those friends that, have held me accountable to doing this so the story that I want to share with you guys today is how to turn your biggest obstacles into your biggest opportunities. Okay. And again, like I said in the intro, I don't have all the answers. And I'm just a guy trying to compete in the game of life and, and become the best version of myself every single day. And I'm learning along the way. But I wrote a post about this morning, and it's, it's fitting that it's kind of opening Saturday for college football. But I was fortunate enough to play college football. I redshirted, and then, I won the starting job as a redshirt freshman. But I got a concussion, a few series into my very first game, and I tried to play the rest of the game. I threw several interceptions. It was not good. I think it was 3. They sat me down. I sat out a week, came back, played well in week 3, played week 4, got another concussion, sat out 365 days, played, had lost my starting position to, another great quarterback. Skyler is still a great friend of mine to this day. And, he had unfortunately gotten injured, so I was able to play again. I played weeks 4, played a little bit of week 5, then played week 6. And on the very first play of week 7, I got a hit, and that was my last concussion. Now, I tried to play the rest of the game, and I had another 3 interception game. So if you look up my stats, they're terrible. But at that time, that was the absolute worst thing that could ever happen to me. Because up until that point in my life, football was my identity. If you asked me, who are you? I would have said I'm a quarterback. That was it. That's all I knew. And, by losing that, dude, I was crushed. I had no idea who I was going to be, what I was going to do, how I was going to move forward. You can ask, she's my fiance now, but my girlfriend at the time, now, granted, part of this was because I had to, but I was in bed for the next week, and the next 30 days I couldn't even work out. Then I could only walk, and it was a long road back. And it seemed like all the plans that I had for my future were completely and totally unfairly ripped from me. And I don't think that is a wrong way to feel. Because I think that's an important thing about emotions. Don't ever invalidate them, because you feel the way that you feel. Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent is not the point. It's valid, right? And just because something is valid doesn't necessarily make it right. It's a weird thing. But I started working myself out of that, and it took a while. It took a few years, probably 3 or 4 years, to really realize what had happened, and really what I had lost that day, and where I was at in my life. And I went and did a couple of different odds and ends things, but now I'm working at First Form. I've been there for going on 5 years, and everything has changed. My entire life has changed. It's literally the greatest company to ever work for. The things that I get to do, the people I get to work with, it's altered the success of my life and my family's life and future family's life. Financially, the trajectory, I mean, it's completely and totally different. Like, it's everything that I could ever ask for from a career. And when I start to look back and reflect upon my life, that obstacle that ripped that identity from me built my greatest, like, set me up for my greatest opportunity. And the reason why I say that is because I was good enough at football to play and not really, I don't want to say try, because I did work hard. Like, in the gym, I worked my ass off. Like, you weren't going to find somebody that really trained harder than I did when it came to the weights. But where I lacked was the practice on my skill, watching game film, watching myself, watching other teams. Like, I mean, I did I came to meetings, but, like, looking back on it, I mean, dude, I left hours and hours and hours of studying on the table. And I wasn't anywhere close to working as hard as I could have. I was not obsessed. I was not consumed. I said I wanted to play in the league, or I said I wanted to be an All-American. I said all these things, but my actions were so far off base, right? And by looking at that obstacle and asking myself, what can I learn from this, right? Why is this being placed in my path? And only allowing myself to believe a positive story, right? Like, what can I learn from this, and why was this placed in my path? And only allowing yourself to tell a positive story. If you can look at anything that happens in your life through that lens, you can learn a lot of things, and you can move yourself forward. But when I asked myself those questions, what I realized was that my first opportunity had come and gone, but it only went through my fingers because I didn't give it everything that I got, right? And so now I was able to take that into my career and understand that, okay, what I would say, I was the 9-to-5 college football player, right? Like, I did what I was supposed to do. I went to the meetings, I did the workouts, I worked out hard, I focused during meetings, I went to practice, I played hard in practice, I played hard in the games. Like, I did what I was quote unquote paid to do, because, I was on scholarship. Like, I was getting paid to do that job. I did what I was paid to do, right? But that also then leaves a lot of things up to chance, right? Because even just like in a career, if you are just 9-to-5 and you work hard while you're at work, there's a lot of people that'll work hard while they're at work. But where you can separate yourself is the extra, right? And that's what I learned that I left on the table in football, right? And then fast forward my life, and now, and this isn't to be like, look at me, but this is just how I attack my job. Listen, I get up every day at 5:15, and the first 2 hours of my day is personal development to make me better during the time, right? Like, during the time that I'm at work, I'm investing myself before I get to work so that I'm better at work. And then after work, I'm doing the same thing, right? I'm reinvesting back into myself so that then I can be better the next day. And it's just this constant improvement, not from what I'm doing between 9 and 5 or 9 and 6. It's what's happening outside of that, right? And so I learned this lesson from my biggest obstacle that has now created my biggest opportunity, right? Because the things that we're going to do at First Form, like, and mark my words, like, this, check that you see, like, First Form is going to be on that same level. And had I not looked at that obstacle, quote unquote, as a lesson, right, then where would I be now? I don't know if I would still be here, because I would have got passed up and I would have got pushed out, because I wouldn't have been able to keep up, right? And that has so that lesson in looking at my biggest obstacle has now created my biggest opportunity, like I said. And so my message for you today is, I want you to challenge yourself, okay? Whatever you're struggling with right now, okay? Whatever is seemingly like a wall in front of you or an obstacle in front of you, ask yourself, what is it that I can learn from this? And why is this being placed in my path? Because those obstacles, with the right perspective, can build your greatest opportunities, okay? And they will build your greatest opportunities, because the fact of the matter is, the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people are that successful people are just normal people who didn't quit and can learn from their mistakes. That is it. So every obstacle that is unavoidable, because we are never going to avoid obstacles. If you can look at every single obstacle, no matter how small or how big, that is trying to teach you a lesson, you're unstoppable, man. You are absolutely, totally unstoppable. Because the majority of people, when they have something that is not convenient or hits them in the face or whatever it might be, they quit. They play the poor me card, they play the victim, and they shut down, and they stop working, and they stop dead in their tracks. And since the world keeps spinning, they're going backwards. But since you now are going to start asking yourself, what can I learn from this, and why has this been placed in my path? And you're looking at it from a positive viewpoint, you're still moving forward. You're honestly moving faster, right? And the distance that's being created between you and the average person is miles long. And it's all because you can look at an obstacle and turn it into an opportunity. And so I'm going to close it with this. It's a quote from Marcus Aurelius: is the impediment to action advances action, and the obstacle in the way becomes the way. Right? And so this week, after listening to this, which one, if you're still listening to this, I'm unbelievably grateful for you. And if this was valuable to you, it would mean a lot to me. If you like this video, comment, leave me some thoughts, subscribe to the channel, and then share it. Because again, I'm not doing this for me. I'm not doing this because I think that I got it all figured out. I'm just doing this because, man, if I can help somebody somewhere not take as long to learn that lesson, and they can change their life that much faster, then me going through all that was worth it. And so I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys. And remember, the obstacle in the way becomes the way.